everybody, this is Tony.
And this is Paul. We're coming at you from the Friends for Life podcast, where we discuss the ongoing lives and issues of people with developmental disabilities to spark positive change in the field.
And we have a lot of fun doing it.
In Licking County, the very first workshop we did for them, we asked for somebody to share their experience. And one woman got up and started off with, well, the first thing that we do is we bring people in and we have them read 100 ISPs. Who wants to read 100 ISPs? Especially when you're new. The air was like, everybody wanted 100 ISPs. It was like, the air was just sucked out of the room. They have a day program, activities. So in theory, each DSP has to know each individual supported. But we said, okay, well, wait a minute. Are they going to have to deal with 100 people the first week? No. How many might they deal with? 3 to 5. So we talked through the problem and decided maybe the better way to do this would be have somebody read one DSP and then have them go out and meet the individual. So they can start connecting the dots and then read the second ISP and then go out and meet that person. And now they can start seeing things. That's sort of using that Lego principle and putting things into the little bags. So they found that by making this change, even though it seems like, well, wait a minute, we're doing 1, 1, 2, 2, and things like that, that sounds like it's a lot slower. They found the training went much faster. It also gave an opportunity for the people, rather than being overwhelmed with that paperwork and feeling like, well, this place is paperwork over people. It's like, no, it gave them a chance to connect with people and see what was being done and how progress was being made. So it helped show them where they were going to get to. And Elaine also mentioned all those question marks. That gets into the doubts or the emotional aspect. So you've got that new DSP. They just completed training. You take them out to the site that they're going to be at. The supervisor's there. For the new DSP, this is like climbing a mountain. And the supervisor just says, hey, let me know if you have any questions. You got this. How do you think that new DSP feels? You know, where do I go? What do I do? What if I hurt somebody? Even things as simple as like, where do I park? Where do I eat? We had one workshop where somebody shared that they came out of the house at lunchtime and they saw the new DSP sitting in her car at lunch. She didn't have any food or anything. She said, what's going on? I'm new to this area. I don't even know where I can go to eat. So one thing she did is applying that person-centered perspective. She decided from now on, when we hire somebody new, I'm going to find the site. She went out, she got coupons from all the local food places and gave them a little welcome packet that included, here's where you can go eat, and by the way, here's a $1 off coupon or whatever it was. Very simple thing to do, which made them feel a lot more welcome. But, think back to your first day on the job. Do you have any of those questions? So how do we solve it? Again, the person-centered perspective, using one of our superpowers, empathy. Come alongside the person, explain. Yeah, look, we get it. This is going to be confusing. This may be intimidating. We are here alongside you to help you succeed. You've got this. We've got your back. So let's look at, again, our experience map and what can we do to improve retention by providing a better experience. So once again, pick an experience you want to improve using empathy. Understanding how they feel. Let's see if we can turn that frowny face into at least a neutral or a smiley face, or at least panic to mildly unhappy. I mean, I don't expect panic to be woohoo, but what can we do to improve that? So in Carol, imagine how Carol felt that she arrives at the residence finally, she's late, she doesn't even know who's supposed to be interviewing her. For all she knows, this person took off, figuring, another ghost. The heck with this, I'm out of here. So she has to knock on the door, and hi, I'm Carol, I'm late. I'm supposed to be interviewed by who's supposed to interview? I don't know. So what could be done to improve that kind of experience? How do you make them feel less overwhelmed and anxious? That's the goal, and how can you show you care?
Making sure that individuals are reaching the goals they have set for themselves. That's one of the many goals of Assured Health Services. If you're looking for a residential care provider or searching for ADS services, Assured Health is your go-to place. Assured Health, helping others succeed. Learn more at assuredhealthohio.com or call 419-442-8066.
But I just want to finish up what happened with Carol out of that workshop. As far as the communication, it was decided, well, wait a minute. We are sending her the address by email. Well, we could text the address, and that instantly becomes a link to the mapping application. We could also email or text a photo of the building, since a lot of houses get very confusing, and a lot of houses are missing street numbers. And gee, here's a novel idea. How about the name and phone number of the supervisor that's going to be interviewing Carol? And if you want to take it a step further, I'm going to go out on a limb and suggest that Carol wasn't the only one to have Google Maps get her lost. So maybe a little note about, when Google Maps says turn right, you really want to go through that intersection and turn right after that light or something. Person-centered perspective. Imagine that. Carol would have shown up on time, more confident. She would have recognized the building, and she would have known that if there was a problem, she could have called. Now, even that doesn't always work. We had somebody who we heard a story about. The person got a flat tire on the way to the interview. He called reception. Oh, yeah, I'll get so-and-so the message. Didn't get the message. We also had somebody show up late. Back Toledo area. He showed up late for his interview in a snowstorm. His car broke down. He rode in a bike with like about 12 inches of snow on the ground. Isn't that the kind of person you want? So it's so easy. We're communicating with people anyway. Anything we can do to make it easier for them to show up and excited. Scott and I, a few years ago, went to a workshop in Phoenix. We'd never been there before. The owner of the company did a little selfie video. Hey, hi there, this is Brad. I know you've never been here before, so I'm shooting this from our parking lot. You just come in this door. He's just doing a selfie video the whole time. Come up these stairs, hang a left, come through the second door. You'll be greeted by Erin. Erin was sitting there. She said, say hi, Erin. Erin said, hi. Said, okay, turn right. That's the break room. That's where you get coffee, tea, anything in the refrigerator is fair game. Help yourself to anything. Here's where the bathrooms are. Here's where we're going to be meeting. So when the group of us got out to this workshop, we all felt like we'd been there before because he had made it very easy. It removed some of those question marks, some of those doubts that Elena was talking about. So anything we can do, we're really good at breaking things down and communicating with the people we support. So why don't we do the same for our new staff, our new hires?
The Reliable Drug and Alcohol Testing Clinic is a leading provider and convenient source of pre-employment and occupational type testing. Their clinic provides services to a wide range of private businesses, healthcare facilities, and municipal and county courts. Reliable is an independent, locally owned clinic. As a result, they provide their services at a lower cost than the major hospitals, have faster turnaround times on test results, and eliminate the long waits typically incurred at these larger facilities. To learn more, visit reliabledrugtest.com.
But if you can make a connection with one person at a job, you are more likely to stay. I was sharing with table, for those of you who don't know my background story, I got to teach kids with Down syndrome in college, help improve physical education, prepare them for the Special Olympics. And of course, when I went to college, Special Olympics was still comparatively new. And I'd never even met anyone with a disability. So it was like, my first reaction was, whoa, how am I going to help them? I found out they're like everyone else. It was a blast. It was a great experience. I played sports in college. I was going to miss a class. The prof said there was no problem as long as I got somebody to take my place. So I picked on my then fiance, Sarah, and she kind of liked it. She wound up changing her major. Eventually, she spent 30 years at the Lake County Board of DD. She had interned at a state agency during college, and they were going to hire her, but then the state put a hiring freeze on when she graduated. So it took her a while to get to Lake County. And when she finally did, I figured she would be over the moon because, this is what she wanted. It was close to home. This is what she wanted. This is what she trained for. This is what she went to college for. And The first couple days she came home, she was absolutely miserable, thinking that she made a mistake. She had a supervisor, wasn't particularly supportive. He certainly wasn't person-centered. They threw her into something that had never been done before and just, yeah, we'll create this stuff. So she didn't know what to do. About the third day, a social worker came up to her and said, hey, I'm Flo, I've been here forever. We are so excited you're here. If there's anything I can do to help you, believe me, I know where all the skeletons are buried. I can get you anything you need, let me know, and I'll help you. She and Flo became lifelong friends. So she made that connection, and it was like somebody flipped a switch. So here is someone who, she wasn't put off by dealing with people with different challenges. She wanted it, she welcomed it, but she was unhappy until somebody, so Flo sort of became her mentor. So it just, if you can make that connection, so that's a great idea. If you can do something and you can get your people to make real connections, we can talk about some of that in the culture, some of the different ideas we've heard and things.
THS Remote Supports is clearly focused on improving independent living through dynamic and personalized services. Their systems have been carefully developed and perfected to ensure that everyone receives the best care through the least intrusive means possible. Located in Cincinnati, Ohio, they've spent over 20 years providing in-home supports to individuals with disabilities. If you or someone you know is looking for a remote service provider, go to thsrss.com or call 513-882-9088.
So we've talked about person-centered perspective, using that experience map and using communication to bridge that knowledge gap, because so many of you, your people, your trainers, your home managers, they've done things 1,000 times. It's like explaining to a child, how do you tie your shoe? You know, for those of us who've been doing it our entire lives, well, I just put on shoe, tie it, off I go. But when you break things down, it becomes a little bit more difficult. You do that with the people you support. We're encouraging you to sort of take that same approach to the people you hire and use empathy to overcome that, oh my gosh, what do I do now? What happened? I know I just had this in training, and I'm supposed to know this. I've asked about it 4 times. I'm afraid to go and ask somebody for help. But when you extend the person-centered approach to new employees, it gives you an advantage over everyone. Do you really think that Amazon is coming up and saying, Elena, I want to help you be a better employee here? Yeah, I don't think. Amazon just, hurry up, you're falling behind, you're dragging everybody down. All right, I'm going to give you one other exercise. It's not in the workbooks. This comes from one of our partners who was the head of the Arc of Indiana for about 40 years, retired. Found retirement didn't stick, started his own company. He asked in a recent meeting where he was our guest speaker, write down who are the 3 best people that you've hired in the last 60 days. So if you know, you've been involved, who are 3 of the best new people you've hired in the last 60 days? If it's only 1 or 2, we'll take it. Once you have that name down, what have you done? Or what will you do to let them know that they're one of the best new people you've added to the team? You know, we all tend, human nature, we take the people who are doing well for granted. In my case, probably my spouse. And then one other thing, this is almost more for your emotional well-being and to remember why we do this work. I'd like you to think about, what are the 2 biggest successes you've seen with someone you support? What have they achieved in the last 6 months? You know, it could be as simple as if you have somebody who just sort of is a little bit self-abusive, hits their head, boom, boom, boom. Even if you've slowed it down or diminished that, that can be a thing. We had in one workshop somebody just sort of, we had to pull out an example and finally got somebody to say, well, I helped somebody get a driver's license. Now, everybody in this room knows getting a driver's license, somebody with a disability, that's a pretty big deal. So Scott wouldn't settle for that. He pushed to get the full story. And of course, it took a year. There were a lot of doubts, helping that person overcome his anxiety. The first time he took the written test, he failed. Then he finally passed the test. Then comes the challenge of, well, Admittedly, she didn't want him driving her car, so had to get somebody to provide a car so he could learn. But it became the first domino. Once he got his driver's license, then he was able to work more hours at his job, and take a full-time job, which then enabled him eventually to afford his own apartment. So what kind of stories do you have? Can I get a volunteer to share anything about a new hire or a good story you have to share to the group? Go ahead, Tony. Unaccustomed as you are to public speaking.
Yeah, hey everyone. We've had several new hires recently. Here is one of our new hires who she's been great since coming in. She's really gathering all the information, coming with new ideas, new strategies. But I tried to reduce my expectations. I don't want that to sound good, but I've tried to let people do them and find back to that person center. So it's once you find your groove, I step in and see where I can be a benefit. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't, I'm going to care more to stay.
Yeah, it's not so much reducing your expectations. One of the reasons that people really have heard of the Great Resignation, which as far as I'm concerned, is a great opportunity for us in this field. But one of the things that, one of the leading causes why people leave these other jobs, they don't feel heard. They don't feel valued. So it's not reducing expectations, it's looking to people to allow them to share their ideas.
It's good to see you again. We can kick back now. The show has reached the end.